As the world watched in disbelief, the United States raised its hand, casting the lone veto against a United Nations Security Council resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. 14 nations said yes. Just one powerful country said no, stopping the world's most influential diplomatic body in its tracks. Why would the U.S., with so many eyes watching and a humanitarian crisis unfolding, block a call for peace? What ripple effects could this decision unleash across the globe? To understand this moment, we need to step back and examine the tangled web of geopolitics, alliances, and tragedy that led here. For nearly 2 decades, Gaza has been under Israeli blockade and periodic bombardment. Out of a population of roughly 2,400,000, over 1.5 million Palestinians have been rendered homeless in the latest waves of conflict. The United Nations describes the humanitarian situation as catastrophic. Hospitals overflowing, basic supplies desperately scarce, and aid convoys struggling to reach those who need them most. Israel says it is fighting to destroy Hamas, a group it and many others label as a terrorist organization. Hamas, meanwhile, continues to hold Israeli hostages, 58 by Israeli count, with only about 20 believed to be alive. The conflict has become a crisis of unimaginable proportions, with civilians suffering the most. The world's frustration has reached a boiling point. This was reflected in the Security Council vote. Algeria and 9 other non-permanent members, joined by Britain, France, China, and Russia, put forward a resolution demanding a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and unrestricted humanitarian aid. This represents the collective will of the entire world, declared Algeria's ambassador, Amar Benjama. The world is watching. But the United States saw things differently. Dorothy Shea, the U.S. representative, argued, "We will not support any action that does not condemn Hamas. Any decision that undermines Israel's security is completely unacceptable." For America's closest Middle Eastern ally, security remains non-negotiable, even as criticism mounts over civilian casualties and restricted aid. Here's where the conflict deepens. While Britain and other key allies supported the ceasefire, calling Israel's aid restrictions unjustifiable and disproportionate, the U.S. stood isolated. China's ambassador accused Israel of crossing every red line of international law. The U.K. warned that the situation is unbearable for civilians. The Palestinian Authority accused Washington of perpetuating instability and insecurity, and humanitarian organizations balked at U.S.-backed aid mechanisms, calling out neutrality concerns. Even some American officials admitted that warning shots near aid sites have led to civilian deaths. The U.S., meanwhile, continues to argue that condemning Hamas and securing hostage release must be prerequisites for any ceasefire. But with every day, Gaza's humanitarian nightmare deepens, and diplomatic trust erodes. "The world is watching horrifying scenes of Palestinians being shot while trying to eat," said Tom Fletcher, the United Nations relief chief. There is an emotional charge in every word spoken at the Security Council. At stake is not only peace, but the credibility of the entire international system. So where does this leave us? With the United States veto, the UN Security Council is at an impasse, and the clamoring for a solution grows ever louder. Will this deadlock push the crisis in Gaza into even darker territory? Or is there still hope for breakthrough, and what would it take to get there? So, what does the future hold after this dramatic United States veto? The world is now standing at a crossroads, where each path carries profound consequences for millions of lives. One possible scenario is continued diplomatic deadlock. With the United States maintaining its veto stance and other major powers split, the suffering in Gaza could intensify. Aid organizations warn that if access remains blocked and violence persists, the already catastrophic humanitarian crisis could spiral even further out of control. Regional stability is also at stake. Experts like Fu Kong, China's ambassador to the United Nations, have bluntly warned that Israel's actions have crossed every red line of international humanitarian law, and that unchecked violations risk setting off wider unrest. Another risk is that this stalemate becomes the spark for a broader regional conflict. With each week of violence, the chances of neighboring countries becoming involved, either directly or through proxies, increase. The world has seen before how local crises can trigger global consequences, especially when international law appears powerless to intervene. Yet, amidst the bleakness, there may be an opportunity for breakthrough. The United Nations General Assembly is set to discuss a similar resolution, and mounting global pressure could convince even the staunchest opponents to reconsider their positions. Former diplomats suggest that a renewed and creative diplomatic push, involving not only the traditional mediators but also regional actors, could help break the impasse. Some experts believe that only by addressing the root causes, security, justice, and dignity for both Israelis and Palestinians, can there be hope for lasting peace and reconstruction in Gaza. So what does all this mean for you, the viewer? In a world where international decisions ripple across borders, understanding these dynamics is not just about politics, it's about our shared future. The Gaza crisis is a stark reminder that diplomatic gridlock can have devastating human costs, and that global citizens have a voice. By staying informed, questioning the official narratives, and supporting unbiased humanitarian efforts, individuals can help push for accountability and meaningful action. As one aid worker put it, "The world is watching horrifying scenes of Palestinians being shot while trying to eat. Silence is not an option." If there is one lesson to take away, it's this: international relations are never static. Even the most entrenched stalemates can be shaken by public opinion, creative diplomacy, and persistent calls for justice. Each of us, through awareness and advocacy, plays a part in shaping the future, whether by supporting humanitarian organizations, contacting elected officials, or simply refusing to turn away. In conclusion, will the current diplomatic deadlock only worsen the crisis in Gaza, or is a breakthrough still within reach? The truth is, both paths remain open. Without bold action from world leaders and pressure from people everywhere, the suffering in Gaza could deepen and the dream of peace grow even more distant. But history also shows that the tides can turn quickly when enough voices come together for change. And here is a little-known fact. Nearly every major peace breakthrough in this conflict's long history started not with governments, but with ordinary people refusing to accept the status quo. That power to demand better lies in each of us. If you found this analysis valuable, be sure to subscribe, share your thoughts below, and join us next time as we bring clarity to the world's most urgent challenges. Your voice matters. Until then,